Hello everybody, and welcome back to the playthrough. It is episode 16, and before we jump in, I'm gonna change show errors to side panel only. On enabled, right now what happens is whenever there is a mistake on the puzzle due to the tiles that I've colored in or the borders, then it will highlight the rule as being broken in red, and it will also highlight, you know, do some sort of red crossed hatched, whatever, cross hatched coloring on the tiles that are affected. But the thing is that sometimes I know what I'm doing. I mean, okay, sure, maybe I don't always know what I'm doing, but sometimes I do, and in those cases it's annoying when, for example, I have a closed off region. I know it will still need to attach to something else, but the puzzle is like, hey, that region is too small and it breaks some size rule or whatever. So instead we're gonna go with side panel only. Thank you to Air Hater for pointing that out in one of the comments, that it may be a good idea to do so. Alrighty, with that out of the way, 565 solved. Let's jump in. And we have one path ahead of us. Yesterday, we were box. Today, no box. No box. No regions are rectangular. Okay. That is very powerful on small boards because 1x1s are not possible. 1x2s are not possible. 1x3s are not possible, but triangles are. So whenever this rule shows up, we are in a blessed land where not only are 1x1s not possible, but neither are 1x2s. So everything is at least size 3, and not only any size 3, but specifically at least this. In fact, 1x anything is not possible, so every shape must have at least a second dimension. In both, sorry, every shape must be at least size 2 in both dimensions. So this so far is one of the most blessed global rules. I mean, what other global rules do we have? Like, let me just take stock of what we know, right? Because I wonder if that's the most blessed rule so far. So, like, we have... Okay, I mean, Shape Bank is pretty good as well, of course. Shape Bank is... I mean, depending on what Shape Bank they give us, but Shape Bank is pretty strong. Gemini Delta are local rules. Rose Windows is nice, but it's like its own type of puzzle. So I wouldn't really call this a global rule. More Shape Bank. Precision. I mean, Precision is pretty strong too. Polyomino is a local rule. Let's see, Precision, Polyomino, Mingle Shape. I don't think Mingle Shape is as strong. This was just more puzzles, and then area number is a local rule. Match. I mean, match is in theory strong, but then you realize that it lends itself to all of these visualization puzzles, which are tricky for me. Minimum, maximum, and range are... they're looser than precision, so they're weaker, I think. Palisade is local. Mismatch is pretty strong, right? Mismatch is pretty strong. I don't know if mismatch is stronger than match or not match. Precision. What am I thinking of? Shape? I don't know. I think Mismatch is one of the stronger ones. I feel. Solitude? Solitude feels a bit like Rose Windows, right? So it is kind of also feels like its own kind of puzzle, just like Rose Windows. But it's still pretty strong, I think. Size separation. That's the stronger version of Is it stronger than Mismatch? It is, right? Because... Or no, size separation is neighboring, not global. Well, it's kind of global in the sense that it affects the whole puzzle, but it affects neighbors. So I don't think it's as strong. I don't know. I feel like Box, NoBox are kind of on the stronger side, if not the strongest puzzle rules so far, in terms of how much they warp the possibilities. But let's see. I mean, okay, I guess that's not true, right? Like, surely precision is like one of the strongest. I don't know. It really depends on the shape of the board, doesn't it? The shape and size of the board, so it's hard to tell. Anyway, let's continue. So, this happens, and now this has to get a second dimension, so it must go there. This has to get a second dimension, and it must go there. So this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. What? What did I do wrong? What? I'm confused. Oh. Wait. Oh, it's because I stopped here last time? Is that it? I should have done this and stopped. No, sorry. This without locking it in. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was too autopilot. I need to be careful. That we can't lock. Sorry, more accurately I should draw it like this to show the sequence of moves that lead there. One of these has to escape. This needs one of those tiles. Oh yeah, this happens, right? Yeah, this. What? Now what, dude? What am I doing? Hello? What's going on? This has to go up, and this happens, and this happens. This also has to get out. So now these race each other. But where do they race each other? They just both die. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. How do I keep breaking the puzzle? Look, this area, even if it goes there, it must get out here. Oh, and also this happens, obviously. And this, and this, and this. This can't do anything. This happens, this happens. This happens, which causes this. It doesn't have to go further, but this has to get out, and this will have to get out here no matter what. No, it can join with that, sorry. But anyway, this has to get out, and now this happens. Oh, I understand. I did something bad earlier. For some reason earlier, I thought this region still had to get out or something, but no, it's already done. Which means this can connect to it. But it doesn't, it won't, because it will have to connect to this purple, because these keep racing each other. And this has to claim that, which means this has to claim this, which causes this to happen. Ugh. So many errors. Okay, Gemini. They race each other until green goes there, blue has to go there. But now they're not the same shape. And we know that because this has a 1x3 and this has a 1x4, the blue still needs a 1x4 and it cannot get it in this row. So it needs to get it at least, it needs to do at least this and this in order to be the 1x3, it needs at least that. And now we could finish the puzzle there. And we must, because if this... First of all, this is not possible. And this is not... Neither of those is possible because this end is closed off. And that end has to be this end. And so that's not possible, that's not possible. So once blue is locked in, green is locked in, and this expands, and they have to meet. Non-boxy precision 3. Okay, so we know that's basically shape bank on this shape. So all of this is forced. This is forced, right? Yes, because this can't visit that, so it must visit these. And then this cannot go up because this breaks, so it goes down. Non-boxy area number. We know size 3 can only be this in non-boxy. 4 will need a second dimension, so it has to go there. Seven needs a second dimension, so it has to go there. This has to get out and it cannot join the 6. And then this 5 has to connect to that 5 because if it doesn't, it cuts it off. So this has to happen and this needs a second dimension, so it has to connect to that. Okay. This needs a second dimension. This has to get out. This has to get out. Can't join there. Has to go there and there. 5 needs a second dimension. And it's done. And it's done. 4 cannot collect all of those. So it cannot collect any of them. Because if it collects at least one, this is not possible. This is not possible. This is not possible. So it cannot collect any of them. The 5 will always have to get out. And now the 4 must collect one of these, because if this happens, this area is broken, because it cannot have a 1x1 in it, because this has to... We know that in Boxy, every region is at least size 3, but this area cannot have a size 3 and cannot have 2 regions. Not enough tiles, and it also can't collect all of them in one. So the 4 must come in to enable that. And then... I mean, the 5 can just pick these up and... Okay, so here is the trick to the ending, to do it logically. I mean, I can see it with, like, pattern recognition. I can just draw this and complete, but... the logical solution is that the 5 either picks up all of these or none of them. But if it picks up none of them, then it's gonna be forced to pick up 2 out of these 4, and that breaks the other 2. And so that's why it must actually pick up all of these. Alright. Non-boxy. This 3 must be this. This 3 must be this. This 4 needs another dimension. Not sure. Oh, this 4 was... No. This 4 did nothing. We don't need this 4 to know that this 3 has to be this shape. The 5's already... sorry, this 5 and this 4 already force this 3 to be exactly this shape. So this 4 was not needed in this puzzle, I think. Okay. Anyway. So this has to join one of the 4s. And it is not possible for this 4 not to see that 4 because there aren't enough tiles for it to expand. So these are the same. And now they cannot pick both of these tiles up, but this has to pick one of them up. And because they're both the same, this happens. And now they cannot pick this tile up, so they have to go here, which forces the rest of the puzzle. This 5 was also not needed in this puzzle, because it again did nothing, basically. So these were not needed, I think. Alright, let's continue. Non-boxy area number. We have 16 tiles. And if each of these 4 area numbers are separate regions, then they need 17. 4 times 3. Wait, what? 4 times 3 is 12 plus 3 is 15. No, they need 15. What am I saying? They could all be distinct. No, they can't, because they would leave one tile hanging, which cannot be alone. So at least 2 4s have to join, but only these are the only 2 area numbers that can join, so they will, and they have to join through this tile because they cannot avoid it. And now they cannot go here. And now we know the unclaimed tiles, the tiles that won't be an area number, because these claim 4, these claim 7. That's 11 out of the 16. So there are 5 unaffiliated tiles, and those 5 unaffiliated tiles must all be together. Because if they were at least 2 different regions, then one of them is already below size 3. And we know this is part of the unaffiliated region, which means how far can this reach? It can reach at most 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can reach these. So anything that's not blue is an affiliated tile. So these have to be affiliated, and they can only be affiliated to the 3. So they are. One of these is pink. This gets out. Blue can't claim both of these. Yeah, therefore blue cannot avoid going east here. Because if it does, it must claim both of those, which cuts the 4 off, so blue has to go this way. And blue also can't be here, because it would again cut the 4 off, so the 4 grabs that. And now 4 has to go through here, because if it doesn't, it's cut off. And now 4 cannot grab that, so it has to do this, 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 this. That's a nice puzzle. Non-boxy polyomino. Okay, so these are 2 different regions. They take up 8 out of 16. The remaining 8 tiles can have at most 2 regions, because each region is at least size 3. 8 divided by 3 is 2 point something, so 2 is the maximum number of regions that can show up outside the polyominoes. That's all well and good, but so what? Who cares? So this cannot be here because this breaks the puzzle, but neither can that. That can also not be there. So this is some other region, and therefore this cannot be this version because this region would not see a second dimension. I don't know if second dimension is the right way to put it. What is the right way to put it? A second... I don't know. It's like a second row or column. I'll just say second dimension, whatever. I know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. All is well. So this cannot exist like that. So what other options can it exist as? Well, if it's 3 by 3 is not there, we know it's 3 by 3 cannot be here or here because the middle of the 3 by 3 has to pick up the... you know, this wouldn't be able to be picked up. So if it's 3 by 3 is not there, it's either here or here. So like these are the total shapes this can now see. The tiles, I mean. So it always has to see these two tiles. And it cannot see this or this. And we know this. So we know blue has to claim one of these two, right? So we can't have a situation where these... Ah, wait. Do we know this has to go here? I think we do. Wait. No. I can't... It can do that, right? It can do that. It cannot do this. It can do that. Okay, so it must always pick this up, I believe. Yeah. So now... we know blue has to get out, so this has to happen. Now that forces orange. So this happens. This happens. And this now can only be this, right? Alright, there we go. Cool. Non-boxy rose window. Where is the tile under the most pressure? This one. This one can only reach this red circle. Reaching that would require this. So since the whole board is populated with rose window symbols, we know there's a hidden precision rule because every region has to be the size matching the number of symbols. So here we have 4 symbols, so every region is size 4. And this, if it tried to avoid this, the only other thing within range 4 is that, but that would cause a rectangle, so this has to happen. And now it needs one of these triangles because it cannot reach that. So this is some other color. And this will always have to go through here because it can't go through here. In fact, that's the only circle in range. And now this, well, it could pick that up or that, so it's not clear. This, however, must pick this up always because it cannot pick that up. It's too far. because it would cause this. Okay. And what? This is red or blue. What am I not seeing? We know blue cannot pick both of these up. We know blue must pick one of these up. Ah, this, sorry. This can only reach red. And now red cannot pick this up. Or that. So this is red. So that's blue. So now that has to be blue because it can't reach this triangle. This must happen. And we're done. Yeah, sorry. I should have looked at that shape. Non-boxy rose window. So these are all forced moves, because everything needs to see a second dimension. This, to get us this circle, it has to go through here. What? Dude, what? What am I doing? How did I break the puzzle? I swear I only made forced moves. Like, I actually swear. If you held a gun to my head, I would have just said, yeah, lock it in. I made no mistakes. What? Dude, like, what did I do last time? I'm so confused. I'm actually gonna have to rewatch the video. I have no idea what I did last time. Did I draw, like, an extra border here by accident or something? Did I, like, expand this further? Oh, I must have expanded this further because I wasn't paying attention that it was already complete. Ugh, that's so silly. Non-boxy rose window. So, again, every region is at least size 3, and every region needs to see a second row or column in both dimensions. So this is forced. This can only see 2 dimensions or whatever with these 2 cells, or it can only be size 3 or above with those 2 cells. This must happen. This has to keep seeking a second dimension. There it is. And this has to get out. This has to keep seeking a dimension. Same for that. Okay. Then this one will either need to reach this point or that point. Ah, but this one needs either this or this. If it gets this, then both of these get broken, so it has to get that. And now these 2 have to argue over these two cells, so neither of those can grab either of those two cells. And now if this grabs that cell, this one dies, so it must grab this cell and this must grab that cell. This now is forced to expand and we're done. Outside the box, restore the non-boxy window, says the achievement. Non-boxy polyomino, we have a board of size 20. This is 6 and this is 6, so we have 8 remaining tiles unclaimed by the polyominoes. So we will have at most 2 regions that are unaffiliated with polyominoes. This cannot isolate, cannot do the arch against the edge of the board. So we'll have to think about that. Let me just take a quick break. Alrighty. So something interesting about this shape is that it's not just this, but because it isolates a tile, that tile will have to get out. So we could extend the shape to say it's this, you know? It's just that we will draw a border in there. But, you know, whatever tile is here will have to connect there. Okay. So what we know about this tile here is that it cannot be this, because if it was, then the arch would be against the edge of the board, right? So it's also not this, because this needs to see opposite rows or columns, but because it's against the edge of the board in a corner, it cannot do that. So for the same reason, it's not either of these either. So it has to be this or this. And both of them are a part of... Both of them are a dead end and are a part of a 1x3. So that means that now either we are in this, and also both of them see an orthogonal 1x3 in the middle of their expansion. And we know we can't isolate, so it's either this or it's this. What are the overlapping squares between them? So it's always this diagonal, right? Yeah. Yeah, so the common cells are the diagonal. So what does that do to this? That needs a 1x3, and the 1x3 is in the middle of the bounding box. This is forced to have this 3x3 bounding box because of the corner here. And we see that in the middle of the bounding box, there needs to be a 1x3, either like that or like that. But it can't be this, so it must be this. So this happens. And now relative to the 1x3, it has a 1x2 in the same orientation. And that can only be here, because it can't be here. So this has to happen, this has to happen. Why is this difficulty 2, by the way? I feel like I had to use such precise, intricate logic to get to this point. Am I missing something, or is it just one of those where the designer is like, oh yeah, the player can just brute force the different orientations of the shape, and therefore it's an easy puzzle? Maybe it's one of those. This has to expand to be at least size 3. So now do we just have to brute force this? This is possible. Is the other gonna be impossible? Yeah, the other now isolates this cell. So it has to be this. And we're done. Where was that? Was it this? Yes, okay. Non-boxy polyamino. Okay, this one cannot isolate the central tile, so it has to wrap around a void tile. That's the only void tile it can wrap around. So it does. This has to get out, cannot be a part of that. This now... I feel such an urge to just use pattern recognition, but it wouldn't even be correct, because this could be 2 things still. Anyway, this is not that. This has like only 4 options. It's not this. It's not this. It could be this. It could not be that. So it must be this, right? Because this corner tile here, it has to be one of these 4. Because each of the central ones require an immediate opposite neighbors in the same dimension, which it cannot have. So it's one of the corners, so there are 4 possible orientations. We can just brute force through them to see that this is the only option. This is impossible, this is impossible, this is impossible. So it is specifically that. This has to expand to a 2nd dimension, as does this. And let's think about this tile. Can it be the central tile? Not like that. Could be like that. Sorry, so this. Not like this. And not like that. So if it's the central tile, it is possible. Like this. If it is not the central tile, if it's this, then it couldn't go up or east or south, because, you know, it just can't expand enough, or west, because it can't go there. So it cannot be this tile. I think these 2 tiles will also experience difficulty, won't they? Because because the way these tiles work is once they take a step, they need to do an orthogonal 1x3, so it couldn't be here. Because they get blocked. It could not be here because the only orthogonal 1x3 is that, but then they need the, you know, they need to mirror their position. So that's no good. So it wouldn't go there or there. Not here, because that's no good. Could go here, actually. And cannot go here. Because they cannot mirror. Or sorry, they cannot mirror this. Okay, so they could be one of these 2, and they could be this. What about these? These are a part of a 1x3. So could be that. That's the only 1x3 they can be a part of, because they can't go there, there, or there. So there are a lot of options. It can be this, if it is one of these two. It can be what was it? This, if it's one of these two. That one was the only option, I believe, for that. Yeah. Or if it's the central one, what was it? It wasn't this. It wasn't this. It was this, right? This. So it can be one of those three things. We see these are common in all three. So this always happens. How does that help us? Sorry, I should extend this. I suppose it tells us that this has to connect there, because if it doesn't, then nothing. No, this is still fine. Like, we can still do that. So let's look at this shape. What are the options? It's obviously not that. So it can be this or that. Any issues with this? Not really. We could just do that. I mean, that works, so it's the solution, but what about this? Right, it would break this shape. But I don't like that. What am I missing? Where's the logical solution? Okay, I think I see something. I think I see the fact that this tile here cannot be a part of this polyomino, and that tile has to get out, right? Which means that this has a 3x3 bounding box, which means that it will have to see one of these two squares, no matter what. We cannot enable either of these two orientations of this shape, because they take both of those tiles, right? And if neither of these tiles are available for this, then it will take 5 out of 6 squares, and the last square cannot be picked up by this, which is occupying these tiles. And so that breaks the puzzle, which means that these two orientations are not possible. So that forces this orientation. But this is still kind of brute force, because I essentially brute forced the orientations this can be, and kind of this, though with this I used a bit more logic, so I don't know. But I'm just gonna accept that as a solution and move on. This needs to see a second dimension. This has to get out. And this has to seek a second dimension. This will have to take one of these tiles in its quest for a second dimension, and it cannot take both of those because it will cut this off. So, and in fact, it cannot take this because this tile now cannot exist, or this shape. So it must take that. And once it does, this now can only be this, and this is forced. Done. Difficulty 2, by the way, apparently. Sure. I would really love to talk to the designer of those puzzles as to why they think they're difficulty 2. Oh god. Whenever I see Palisades, I reflexively think Solitude Palisade. I just immediately got the urge to draw this in. Alright. Non-boxy Palisade. Sorry, first of all, dead ends have to expand because they have to be at least size 3 in non-boxy. Then what is it that we... Oh, okay, so this cannot be horizontal. No, it can. No, it can't. It can't. Because it can't... If it joins that, this is isolated, and if it doesn't join that, this has no second dimension. So this is vertical. And... it needs a second dimension. But so does this square. And this square is not red. So blue has to join purple or yellow. Red has to join purple or yellow. Blue can join yellow because then red joins purple and then blue, yellow are broken. So blue has to join purple and red has to join yellow. This now has to get out, and this causes this. This has to seek a second dimension. There are now 5 cells here. Each region is at least size 3. 5 cells cannot accommodate 2 regions, therefore. And so they will still be 1 region. This needs to seek a second dimension. Once it goes here, this is forced. Sorry, this is forced. This has to seek a second dimension and is not the same region. This has to go there. It cannot pick this up. This has to seek a second dimension, and we're done. Non-boxy Palisade. This cannot have this version of the borders because then it propagates and it isolates this. So this has to be horizontal, which means all of them are horizontal. And they're different. Okay, this has to get out and get out, and now this has to get out, and this has to now get out, this has to get out, this has to get out, this has to get out, can only go there. This has to get out. And now again we have red, blue and red. Red can only get a second dimension in purple, so it does now, and now blue needs to get that. Non-boxy Palisade. If this is vertical, this cannot be vertical because it isolates this area, because it would cause this. And at least one of these tiles is a different color, and puzzle breaks. And if that's vertical, so if that's vertical, that's horizontal. And that breaks, yeah, so the easier way to see is that none of these can be horizontal, because when they are all horizontal, and they pick up dead-end tiles, and the puzzle breaks. So none of these horizontal, and they're all the same orientation, so they're all vertical and different from one another. Okay. So now these middle 3 have to expand. And purple still has to expand, and it cannot go to the dead end. Actually, it can, because it can still go there. Never mind. This is different from this, and it needs to seek a second dimension, and so it does, which causes this to happen. This seeks a second dimension. This seeks a second dimension, closing this. This is different from that and seeks a second dimension, which it can only find here. This connection causes this border. This seeks a second dimension. These are different, so these borders exist. This can only get its second dimension here. This has two borders done, so it's forced to go there. This is different. This seeks a second dimension, finds a dead end. This seeks a second dimension. This still needs a second dimension, has to go there. Good. Non-boxy delta Gemini. Seek dimension, seek dimension. This is a different region from blue, and it has to have a 1x4 at least. And there are still ways of doing that without connecting to green, though. Ah, wait. Yeah, it cannot connect to green. Because if it connects to green, then it will have a 1x5 in it. And the only place where blue can have a 1x5 is in this row, which would connect it to the delta. And then both shapes would see both the delta and the Gemini. So red is distinct from green. And I believe green and blue are also distinct, because if they connected, it would be such a large region that red couldn't become that size or shape. So these three regions we have drawn are all distinct. So where can red find its 1x4 now? It cannot be vertical. Because if red grabs this vertical 1x4, then this inner section is broken, because it cannot be part of blue. And if it cannot be a part of blue, neither of them, then if red picked any of them up, blue would break. And red can also not have this 1x4. Oh, by the way, before I proceed, I should draw these tiles. Okay. Red can also not have this 1x4, because then blue would need a 1x3 in the other dimension, so it would have to at least go here. And at this point, this tile cannot be red or blue. And then it, because, you know, it's clearly not blue, and if red picked it up, oh no, it could be red. No, there is a different issue. The issue is these tiles. These tiles cannot all be red, because then blue breaks, but they also cannot be their own region. So that's why red cannot have its 1x4 vertically. And if red cannot have its 1x4 vertically, then it must have it horizontally. But there's only one place where it can have it horizontally, which is here. And so it must do that. And then due to the shape of, like, clearly this has to correspond to this, and this is extremely limited. It's a very linear shape, and so these two tiles actually have to be these two tiles, because this is already completely bordered in. All of its borders are defined. They're all closed except for this one connector, And so that one connector has to correspond to this, which means that we have to draw these borders in. Okay. And also the next tile has the two orthogonal borders relative to the connector defined, so this has to happen. But now this gets fully closed, so this has to happen. So now these have to seek expansion. What's the purpose of the delta here? I have no clue. Oh, it was the Gemini. The purpose was to prevent blue from being able to extend there. Right. Sorry. My bad. Alright, this is a new color, not green. And purple cannot pick all of these tiles up. But we also cannot introduce a third color, because it needs at least 3 tiles. So, because purple cannot pick all of these up, green has to be a part of this, and now purple can only be that. Good. How many more to metallicize? 1 more. Okay, then let's just do this, for example. Non-boxy Gemini. Dead end expansion. And second dimension. Dead end expansion. This Gemini is struggling to see the shape. It needs to see a 1x3 somewhere. Let's see where it can even move. If it tries to move this way, it breaks. Because look, if it tries to seek a 1x3, clearly the closest areas are here and here. But it cannot... So we cannot draw this, essentially, because it needs to be at least size 4, but it will lock its sibling off and break. So we cannot draw this border, so we must do this. And again, same logic, we cannot close this border because same issue happens. So we must draw this, and once we draw that, we're forced to close this border. This needs to seek second dimension. And now we can still connect this here, which will have to happen. Yeah, actually, sorry. So we can see also that we cannot draw this border because this Gemini cannot create that shape now. So we must do this and this. This shape can still expand, so we don't yet know for sure that this dead end is one of these. Because it could just be whatever dead end this reaches. Well, we know this won't go there though, but... Oh, wait. Yeah, this is the final tile this shape can see, because it cannot expand north or south because of this border. So this shape is either exactly this or this. And in both cases, this tile is not that, because it would need to see a 1x4. And it's not this, because this is not a dead end. So this tile is either this, this, or this. It's not this, because that sees a 1x3. It's not this, because that sees a 1x3. So it is this. So this tile is this tile. And we know that when this takes a step, it only has one connector, which is already defined here. So we have to draw that border. So this has to seek size 3 and a second dimension. And then we continue to the 1x3. And then we take orthogonal steps in opposite directions. So this happens. This has to seek. And then now, this is size 4, so this sibling is size 4, and it cannot be these 4, so it has to escape in this direction. That causes this to happen. Here we cannot introduce... into this corner, we cannot introduce a new color. So red or blue have to pick these up. And red cannot pick both up because blue cannot be that shape. So blue has to pick at least one of them up. And now... it's pretty clear that red has to pick the other up, because let's see, if blue picked the other up, then we see something clearly, which is this tile has to be... this tile could not be either of those, because they see a 1x5, which this tile cannot, so it would have to be this tile. But that tile, once it gets out, it needs to expand into two opposite directions, and this one cannot. So, blue cannot pick this up. So red must. And so now the shape is defined. It's exactly that. This has to get out. This is now... the sibling is size 4, so it has to at least be this. So it must always pick these 3 tiles up. And... this is picked up by one of them. And it cannot be the lighter blue, or whatever. Let's call this red and this blue. It cannot be red, because blue can't have a 1x4, so it must be blue. And so now, this tile has to be this tile, because it sees a 1x3, and this tile does not. So, it's 1x3 into a border, and now we're forced to draw that. And that completes the Gemini shape. And then here, these 2 cells must join with those. Done. Non-boxy metallicized. Let's go back to the start. And let's start doing the unlocked puzzles. Non-boxy area number. What are you asking me to see here? I suppose I'll start by counting. Border size 36. If all the regions, or if all the area numbers were unique, then we've got 10, 20. Oh god, I'm sorry about that. I did not mute my Discord before recording. 10, 20, 31. So that leaves 5 tiles. Don't care. So that's not the way. I mean, there's a lot of borders. Ah, okay, I see something now. These are under pressure. Probably that too. So this, let's say it tried to do that, it would break. So it must do this. This, same thing, right? If it tried to do that... or no, this one doesn't have that shape. Who else has that shape? This one? Wait, that one also doesn't? Oh, because this one has the opening closer to the corner. So I guess the 6 has the same issue, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so these 2 have that issue. Now what? Oh, sorry. Now this, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. This, and this, and this. So now this. Well, we know that yellow is different from... Or no, sorry, yellow could pick that up. Sorry. Oh, wait, I just broke the puzzle. This 5 is locked in. What am I doing? So this border is not possible. And this border is not possible. So this now goes there. Oh, I had a leftover border when I was drawing the 6. Oops. This happens. So let's see, this border causes this. Don't really care about that. Oh. What else? Like, this 5 can go north. Which means it can draw this border. We know whatever this is has something else on the other side, but they can be 2 different things. These don't have to connect. Oh, sorry. This... We cannot draw this border, sorry. We must draw this. And also, we must draw this, don't we? Yeah. Because... yeah. Alright. And that. Okay, and now that causes this. So now this one can go at most there. So that's 3, 4, 5. So now the 6 can go at most there. That's 4, 5, 6. Oh, and it's exactly those 6. Okay. So now this needs to grab that. And this has to happen. Now this either grabs exactly those 3 or those. So one of those 2 options is forced, but even if we do this, this still happens. So this always happens. There are other ways of seeing that as well. And we cannot draw this border, because if we draw that border, this tile breaks. So we have to do that. Okay, dead end expansion. So this is some color. These are some other color, and we cannot draw this border because not enough space, so we have to draw that. Issue is orange can still be a part of green. But can we draw this? No. The reason we cannot draw that is because orange is now not red, yellow can only see second dimension here, and red gets stuck. So this has to join. But once that joins, green cannot pick orange up anymore. So green now... This green can never pick that up because it locks that in. So we know this exists. And now green can no longer complete with orange. Green can go at most there, so green always has to do this, which causes this to happen. And now these always have to connect. And now red is different from orange and yellow. And I think we have run out of room for orange and yellow not to be the same. Because if they're not the same, well, orange just breaks. So they are the same. And now red cannot complete without teal, so it has to pick teal up. And now it's complete and the puzzle is done. That one was quite tricky, and I'm not sure if I kind of cheated a bit with some pattern recognition. I might have missed some interesting logic there. Non-boxy mingle shape area number. So the fours are Tetris pieces, and these two Tetris pieces are not possible. So we have LJ, SZ, and T. And they cannot, the same ones cannot neighbor. The threes can only be this. Corner expansion. So the bounding box for all of the fours is a 2x3. For this, it's this 2x3. And it still needs 2 out of these 3 tiles, which means it will always... No, it doesn't always have to pick that up, sorry. 2 out of those 3. Huh. Oh, sorry, okay, so this cannot be LJ. So it cannot pick both of those up, so it must pick this up. And now it either completes like that or like that. Same here. Cannot be LJ. But it can still be T, so it can still pick this tile up somehow. What am I missing? There are too many 4s that could connect, so I'm not sure I can just count the board and make conclusions. Can I? 27 tiles remain. If nothing out of the ones we see here connect, that's 4 times 4 is 16, plus 3 is 19. This needs 2 more. So that's 21. This needs 1 more, so that's 22 out of 27. That would leave us with 5 tiles, which would have to belong to a single region, but who cares? Surely it's possible. Or at least, like, I can't see a way to obviously tell that that's not possible. More realistically, I do think that some 4s will connect, because, like, these 4s are... This 4 is too hemmed in. Yeah, actually, maybe we can say that this 4 has to connect to something, because... Nah, that's not true. All we can say is that these 3 4s cannot be 3 different shapes while not connecting to that, but that's like such a loose thing to say that who cares? What else could there be? Oh, sorry, this is just so silly. We have mingle shapes, so the 3 can't see the other 3, dude. That's so obvious. And now this 4 cannot be a part of purple. Oh, and this can't be the size 3, so it has to do that. And now this can't be LJ. So it's either SZ or T. It can't be T because if it is a T, then it could not be this tile, because that tile, once it moves, it needs 2 orthogonals, which it can't have. But any of these tiles are part of a 1x3, and it's only this 1x3 it could see, and it would have to cut that cell off. So it's not an LJ and it's not a T, so it is an SZ. And it cannot cut this tile off, so it cannot be this. It cannot move into this tile. So this happens. And this has to expand. Sorry, misclick. So that's not SZ. But we also cannot draw this border, because then we have to isolate it. So we must draw this, and it can't be SZ, so we must draw that border. We must finish like this. Now, if this 4 connects north, then the puzzle breaks, because that's no good and that's no good. So the 4 cannot connect north. This has to continue growing. This has to expand. And now we cannot do this, so this has to seek a second dimension. And now... do we run out of tiles if we take that tile? If we take that tile, then we have 7 tiles remaining. And there are at least 3 different regions of 4 here, because this 4 cannot connect to any, and these 3 4s cannot all be 1. So 7, 8, 9, 12 would need to facilitate 3 4s, which is 12. So it is possible. In terms of area, it is possible to take that tile. But we do know that at least 2 4s have to connect, because if none of these 4 4s connected, that's 16, and they have how many tiles available? 8 plus 5. That's 13. So yeah, at least 2 4s must connect. This 4 cannot connect to any. Any 2 of these 3 can still connect to each other though, can't they? Oh, no, no. This can't connect to that, because they would cut purple off. So this must be the one that connects to someone. If it connects here, then it's either an SZ or a T. And if it connects here, it's an LJ, forcing that. Let's see. I don't immediately see what that forces. How many tiles do we have available to us? We have 5. Oh, okay. Yeah. It cannot... oh, sorry. There are multiple ways of solving this. One is to say if this happens, this just gets cuts right off, or vice versa. So it has to be this. But the other is to say that this connects to one of these. And so then out of the 8 tiles, red takes 1, yellow takes 2. That leaves 5 tiles. The unconnected 4 takes 4 out of those 5 tiles. So that leaves 1 unaffiliated tile, but the 1 unaffiliated tile has to belong to a region of at least size 3, and so therefore it must be this. We know that. But the other thing to say is that if yellow takes that, red cuts this off. So yellow cannot take that, it must take this. And... and we can still see this logic as like, we have 7 tiles left. Yellow, red take 1 each, not the same. 5 tiles left. This takes 4 of them. 1 tile left. This has to take that tile. This cannot take the 4. And now this must exist in this bounding box. And we know this is an LJ, and this... sorry, we know this is an SZ or a T, and this is an SZ or a T. And we know that in both cases they border each other. And in both cases they leave exactly 4 tiles that have to border this. Which means this can't be an SZ or a T, so it must be an LJ. So it has to pick up one of these 2 tiles. So yellow and red cannot block those tiles. So yellow can't be SZ, so we have to be specifically in this world. And so we are. Tricky puzzle. Let's continue walking into this manor. Non-boxy mismatch. All regions must have different shapes. This is forced to be that. Corners must expand. This is an air hater type puzzle. So this, even if it grabs that, it would have to expand further, but it could expand there. So that's not helpful. Well, let's do the... So each area has at least 2 regions in it because of the borders. And each region is at least size 3. So which of these is the smallest? 8. So let's start here. We know... Well, we know the 2 reds cannot connect, because they will not be able to pick up the rest of all the rest of the tiles. And the rest of the tiles are at most size 2, if the reds connect. So we know we know these are the 2 different regions. And so if red takes that, blue takes that, but blue needs a second dimension. And now either the puzzle breaks like this or like this. So red cannot take that, but it needs a second dimension. So this is forced. I bifurcated a little, but it's just like very small look ahead, so I think it's fine. But wait. The other way of... there was another thing I could have said. The other thing was that there are 8 tiles, and because of the border, at least 2 regions exist, but 3 regions cannot exist. And so, how can you divide 8 among 2 regions? Because each region is at least size 3, there are only 2 options, either 5 plus 3 or 4 plus 4. It cannot be 5 plus 3 because the 3 is already occupied. There's only one possible shape in non-boxy of size 3. So it has to be 4 plus 4. And they also... So there are 2 Tetris pieces that have to be different. And we know that 2x2s and 1x4s are not possible. So they have to be 2 out of the 3 remaining Tetris pieces, which are LJs, Ts, and SZs. But then I still feel like at that point you're still forced to like just see that red can't go there. I suppose you can see red is not SZ. So red is LJ or T. And in... Oh, sorry, no, there is something else you can see. You can see that blue can only see second dimension in this direction. Right? And so it must. And now we know blue cannot pick both of these up. And blue can't reach that, so red must take this. And like here, at this stage, it's literally just one step look ahead. To see that this is no good, so it's this. So I'm gonna accept that as acceptable logic. Now we have size 9. Let's move on to the size 9. So size 9 could technically have 3 different regions, but that doesn't work because they would all have to be size 3, which is not allowed. So again, we have 2 regions. Let's just arbitrarily color them red and blue around the border. And let's ask, what sizes are they? The minimum, once 3 is taken in non-boxy, the minimum of new regions become a non-boxy mismatch. The minimum becomes size 4. So each of these is at least size 4. So out of the 9, 8 tiles are already taken. 1 tile remains that has to belong to one of them. So it's 4 plus 5. So because blue is at least size 4, here it's 3, so it has to at least go there. And this cannot be blue because blue would have to be size 6, which is not acceptable. So it has to be red, it has to get out, has to join to itself. Like we cannot draw a border between itself. So those are red. And now, if blue is size 4, so whichever is size 4 makes a Tetris shape. And the only remaining allowed Tetris shape is the T. Because this is not allowed, this is not allowed. This is taken, this is taken. So only the T is left. So one of these has to make a T and blue can't. The other way to see it is that if blue was the Tetris shape, whichever 2 tiles it takes, it's forced to create an LJ, which is not allowed. So red is the Tetris shape. And it has to create a T. Or we can ask which of them can make a T, not blue, only red. And red can only make a T in one way, like this. So this is forced and this is forced. Now let's move on to this, maybe. So this is size 10. Minimum shape size now is 4. No, minimum shape size now is 5 because all possible Tetris shapes are taken. So in both this region and in this region, we have exactly 2 colors taking up all of the board. And this shape is not allowed. So here, red has to, in both of them, red has to get out here. Red has to go at least this far. In fact, further, because it can't be this shape. So here, red has to go at least that far. And blue has to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least that far. And here, red has to at least go this far, and blue has to go at least that far. This is now forced to be blue. And this cannot be blue because then it would make a disallowed shape, so it's red. So red is forced to be that, blue is forced to be this. And so now here, this cannot be blue because it would force red to be a bad shape. So it's red. So red is done and blue is done. Nice. Cool puzzle. Alright. Ooh, is that the boss puzzle? It is, isn't it? Yeah, it's larger. Okay. There's another puzzle near the manor. Non-boxy solitude area numbers, so none of the area numbers can join one another. Which is potentially useful between these 2 6s and these 2 6s. But that's about it. Oh, but it's also useful, the solitude is also useful in that blank tiles need to find an area number tile. So that's also very helpful, because this, for example, cannot reach the 6. Oh, it can, sorry. It can, never mind. Never mind. Well, okay, this can see the 5 or the 6, never mind. Just you wait, I'll find one tile that's forced to be. Ah, this, no, that can see that 6. Damn it. Anyway, this 5 has to get out. It's size 3, 4. This 3 is now forced. No, it's not. It could be that or that. Sorry. This 4 has to get out. And we cannot draw. No, we can. Oh my god. Stop giving me shades of blue. Thank you. Well, this 3 cannot lock the 5 in. So it cannot have... it can avoid picking that tile up because it can still do that. Ah! Okay, this time for real. This tile cannot see the 3s or the 5s or the 4s. It can only see this 6. It can't even see that 6. Okay. This has to happen. And this can only now see one more tile, which cannot be this. Aha! So this now sees only this 3. And this now only sees that 3. Okay. And this now cannot see the 4. In fact, it couldn't see the 4 earlier either, but it could still see the 3. Now it cannot see the 4, only the 5. Okay. 4 has to pick one of those 2 tiles up. These 2 6s are different, so this 6 can pick up at most 2 tiles from these 3. So it's at most size 3, 4. This 6 could still do that because these can be the 3. It can do that because these can be the 3. It can do that as well. Ah, I see. This 4 cannot reach this tile. So this tile and this tile cannot now be part of the 5, so it's part of the 6. And now this 4 has to grab that in some way. And whichever way that is has to involve that tile. So this happens. So this 6 now is at most size 4, 5, 6. This tile now has to be part of the 4. Or maybe it always had to? No, because the 6 could have grabbed it before. And this tile also has to be part of the 4. And this has to get out, which blocks the 6. This can't be the 5, so it's the 3. This has to be the 6. This 6 now cannot reach that tile, so it's part of either this 6 or the 3. The 5 is forced, the 3 is forced. This has to expand and lock, and we're done. Nice puzzle. Something up here. Non-boxy Delta Gemini. Dead end expansion at least to size 3. These are 2 different shapes, but they get copied in here. And so these have to be different. So they are, and they must expand to at least be size 3. Then what? Well, they cannot both be size 3 because they're different shapes, and there's only one shape of size 3 allowed in non-boxy, so at least one of them is size 4. if not both. So out of 12 tiles, at least 7 are taken, which leaves 5 more tiles. So at most 1 extra color can be introduced. And that color must be introduced, because if it is not, then I believe a 2x2 is unavoidable in one of the shapes. But where could the 2x2 happen outside? It would happen too far. There's no space inside for a shape like that. Or is there? Wait, maybe there is. Maybe this is interesting. So this is some shape that is mirrored here, but this has to be a different shape. So these two are different regions. Which means red has to seek a second dimension west, because if it seeks it east, it would cut blue off. It would force blue to be owned by one, which is not possible. So red must seek a second dimension west. So one of these two is red, if not both. But that's all we know. So these two Geminis, if they are different, then out of these 9 tiles at least, I mean, they could, sorry, drawing this border doesn't necessarily mean the Geminis are different. It just means, like, they could still be the same shape, just 2 instances of it. I don't think that's helpful to think about. Well, at least one of these has to grow, because they cannot both be size 3. Because the delta would break. What am I not seeing here? They're saying it's difficulty 3, but like, I'm just not seeing the way forward. Oh, I suppose I see something. Yeah. Yellow can't avoid picking one of these two up, because if it does, then it locks it in. So, in fact, if yellow does that, it has to pick both up. And are we in trouble for the outer yellow if that happens? Because the outer yellow, to have a 2x2, the earliest it can do it is here, and so it has to be at least size 8, which means this needs 3 more tiles, so it always has to pick that up. But if it picks that up, it would have to pick these up, and now it's size 8 differently from this. So this needs a secondary 2x2 using one of the tiles of the first, and that's not possible. So what we're saying is we cannot go here because of that. But that feels very deep bifurcation. I don't know if that's acceptable logic. Well, anyway, we can't go there, so we have to go here. And now we're either size 3 or 4, but not 5. And this other one couldn't pick all the rest of the tiles up, so... yeah, I believe we know this is not orange, because if it is, then all of these are orange. And we run into the same issue, is like, on the outside, in order to have two 2x2s that share a cell, the earliest that can happen is here. But it's too large. It's size 12 and this can't be. So this is not orange or yellow, it's some other color. And that other color needs at least 3 tiles. So it cannot avoid picking this tile up, because if it tries to... oh, it could. Sorry, it could. Ah, but that breaks orange. Because we can't have this. So orange would have to pick this up. But I'm not sure I like that logic. I mean, I could do this. I believe this must happen, but... it feels really brute forcey to do that. Like, I know this has to be blue because of what I just said. Because if it's not blue, then that's not blue, obviously. So if that's not blue and that's not blue, the only way blue can have a second dimension is to pick this tile up. But then this has to expand. It couldn't be orange, because orange can't make this shape. So this would be forced. And yellow and orange are now the same, puzzle breaks. So we know this, therefore we know this. But like, that's brute force, I'm not sure I want to do that. I want to see some other logic. Okay, I think I see the other logic. The other logic is that orange can also be at most size 4. Because if it wanted to be size 5, this would happen. And that shape has no space in here. This shape needs... I don't know. Like, I'm using pattern recognition as part of that proof, but... pattern recognition is essentially a shortcut to brute force, because it just means that you can intuitively or like visually see that it's not possible, but technically speaking what you're doing is a shortcut to brute forcing all options and concluding through proof by contradiction that it's not possible, and I don't like that. But I'm really not seeing other logic here right now, and whenever blasted Gemini shows up, you know that the intended solution might just be brute force, pattern recognition, proof by contradiction, so... at this stage, I might just use that logic and say that this has to be blue, so this is blue. And orange cannot be size 5. Because this outer orange is this, which means at least one of these is blue, because it can't be a new color that's not orange. No space. So blue has to get in there, but it can't stay as a 2x2. Orange has to grow. Orange could be size 4. Blue will take one of these, so yellow and orange will be size 3 and 4, and blue will be size 5. Blue will always be this shape, which means that this Gemini needs to be that shape. It has 2 ways of doing it. Either this tile is part of the 2x2 and then one of these happens, or this tile is not part of the 2x2 and then specifically this happens. So these 2 tiles are always part of the Gemini. We cannot draw this. And then either we finish like that, in which case orange can't be size 4. Or we finish like this or this. And in that case, orange could be size 4. Not in this case, though. So orange can only be size 4 in this precise case. But, well, I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, point is that red, well, we already knew red has to seek its second dimension here, so that's not it. We know these Geminis are either size 3 or 4. But can they make SJs? Like, if this is an SJ, then this happens. And now this can only be this SJ, which breaks the puzzle, so... So maybe that's actually where we should have looked earlier. It's just the fact that this has to be size 3. So this expands and forces that. This now is part of that. So this now happens. And now this cannot be part of the... Sorry, this cannot be the dead end. Because this breaks. So it's the 2x2 piece. And it can't complete here, so it must complete here. And this cannot be the dead end, because it cannot move and see a 2x2, so it is the 2x2, and red now only has that tile to see second dimension, and we're done. That was, to me, way harder than difficulty 3, but whatever. We'll do those puzzles in a row in a sec. Let me take a quick break. Okay. Non-boxy palisade. So, we know this. Oh, and this. Sorry. We know all this. So this must be here, which forces this and that. And this can't exist like that, so it must expand. This is not orange, so it's blue. And now blue and orange are distinct. And now this happens. This needs to get out. So this has to happen. This happens, which causes this. And this still needs to... It can't stay like that, so it needs this. It's not orange or blue, it could be yellow. This cannot avoid being a part of yellow or blue, because if it does, it breaks. Or no, wait. Yeah, it breaks because this has to be a part of orange. So it joins blue or yellow. But not both. Or does it? Can it join both? Yeah, actually it can. But hold on. So this happens. That's something new. And if we draw this, then we have to draw that, and that breaks the puzzle. So we cannot draw that, so this happens, and that forces this now. And that is the solution. I'll leave these for later. I'll leave all those for later, and the boss puzzle. Let's continue here, and there's something there as well. Non-boxy polyomino. Alright, this cannot... We cannot draw this because that breaks the puzzle. So we must draw this, which causes this, this, and that, and this, and this. This only has 3 options. It cannot be that option. Could be that. Could be that. Either way, it has these. This cannot have that. Can it? No, it cannot, because when it's a dead end, it takes a step and then it creates a 1x3 orthogonal and then completes like that, but this breaks this area, so it has to pick these up, and it cannot pick those because it does not involve a 1x4, so dead ends must expand. Now, one of these two has to be the dead end, so either this happens, or this happens and the puzzle breaks, so it's not that, it's this. This needs to get out. This has 2 options, I believe. Either that or that. Because it cannot pick both of them up, because when it picks both of them up, then it has to be one of these 2 tiles, but both of those 2 tiles this one needs to be the middle of a 1x3, which is not possible. And this one also needs to be the middle of a 1x3, which is not possible. So this tile here in the corner is not one of those 2. So it's one of the dead ends, and all of the dead ends are part of a 1x3, so it's either this, and all of the dead ends, once they're part of a 1x3, the middle of that 1x3 has an orthogonal other 1x3, so it's either this or this. It cannot be this, because it cuts these 2 off, so it's this. This has to expand, this has to expand. Now purple can join green, so purple only has this option left. Green still needs one of these 2 tiles, and when it picks it up, 2 tiles remain. Those cannot form their own region, so they must join green. Done. Non-boxy polyomino. Okay. These 2 cannot be together because they couldn't join there, and this is not good. So this happens, and now either that or that happens. This has to get out. It's a dead end, and it's not this, because it can't do that. So it's one of the other dead ends, both of which involve a 1x3. And this has to get out. I've just noticed that they're not being consistent with the orientation of the clue, which is funny. Because, like, are they tempting you to do this? Or what? Is that an Easter egg? I mean, they are like laughing at you because that's clearly not possible. This is isolated. Anyway, this cannot be drawn because the puzzle breaks. So this has to be drawn. So this has to get out. And if it is a part of this, it has to complete there. And if it is not a part of that, the puzzle breaks. So it is a part of that. That's a dead end. It's not the central dead end. It's not that, because it can't do this. The other ones involve a 1x3, and then it's completed. This gets out. This gets out. It could be that. It cannot be this, because both of these break, so it must be this dead end. This has to get out. Cannot join there. Still has to get out. This would be this. Cannot be that. So these two always have to be together. Because if they're not, the puzzle breaks. So this happens. And now we cannot draw that for the same reason. So this must happen. And now we cannot draw this because then they can't get out. So we must draw this and this. This now cannot be that because it can't do this. So it must be a 1x3 with that. This has to get out, this has to get out, and we're done. Interesting puzzle. What's going on over here? Those are a new window, no? Ah, it's a window that unlocks without a beacon because there's no new rule. It's just an extension or a combination of the rules we've already learned. We're not gonna go there, we're gonna finish NoBoxy. NoBoxy Solitude Palisade. Okay, Solitude means this. This cannot be isolated. This has to get out. These cannot join, this has to get out. Solitude, so these cannot join. This has to get out, cannot join, cannot join. These cannot join. This has to get out. So goes that. And this. And I've managed to break the puzzle. I love when I just randomly break the puzzle when I'm so confident of every move I take. This has to pick that up, cannot join, get out. Cannot join, get out, cannot join, get out. Get out. Complete, cannot join, get out, cannot join. This doesn't have to get out. This does, and it cannot join. This has to get out. These cannot join. This has to get out. We don't know which way yet. These can't join. This has to get out. This still has to get out. They cannot join. This needs to get out. I think I extended this here, right? Yeah, that was silly. These cannot join. This must get out. Cannot join. Still needs to get out. Doesn't need to get out further. This must get out. This is done, so it needs those borders. Cannot join, cannot join. This still needs to get out, cannot join. This needs to get out, this needs to get out. This can't pick that up, so it belongs to yellow. Done. Okay. Now I think this row, this puzzle, and the boss puzzle remain. Are there any other hidden ones somewhere? Not that I can see, but we'll double check after we complete these. What is this? NoBoxy Precision. Are these also that? They are, right? Yeah, so let's complete the ones at the bottom first. I don't know what sequence to do them in. I'll just start here. NoBoxy Precision 4. Get out, get out, get out. I'll just say expand. And expand means dead ends must expand. Okay, so this cannot happen, so it's this. Expand, expand, cannot do that, so that's forced. Expand, don't join, expand. Cannot do this, must do that, must do that. Here there are 6 tiles. So there are 2 different colors in here. And the one that's here can take up exactly 2 of the remaining 5 tiles. Sorry, exactly 1 of the remaining 5 tiles. So it needs 2 more outside. So this happens, and it needs exactly 1 more inside. And it cannot be that, because it would force a 2x2. So it must be this and this. Alright, this cannot be blue or purple, so it's a new color, and that new color cannot avoid picking this up, because if it tries to, it breaks. So it must pick that up, and therefore it must pick this up. And now blue is forced to go there no matter what. This is something else that has to get out. Red cannot complete there, so red must complete there, and this must belong to blue. Then these two each claim 2 more tiles out of 8, so 4 more tiles remain afterwards. This cannot be yellow or purple, this cannot be yellow or purple, this cannot be yellow or purple, and now red cannot complete here, so it must complete there, which forces the rest. Done. Next, non-boxy precision 4. Expand. Let's see. So we know there are exactly 10 regions because there are 40 tiles each region area 4. So this is not blue. And this is not red, because these would have to be red. So that's yellow, which has to at least go this far. And that's as far as yellow can go, so that's gonna be a new color there. But it's not forced to pick this up, because it can still sustain itself like that. But it cannot pick... No, it could pick both of those up. It could even pick this up, but it can't pick that up. But red can. But what's going on inside here? There are 3 regions that still need to pick up 4 tiles. This picks up 2 of them, yellow does. The other 2 are split between red and green, but green could pick these 2, it's fine. And red could pick these 2, it's fine. So we don't know much. So we know green doesn't pick both of these up. What does that tell us? Because green picks one of them up and not both. So it's interesting, isn't it? I think that tells us something about this tile. Or does it? Because, yeah, sorry. We know it's not... We know this border must exist. Because if this happens... No, wait. No. Green can pick both up. Do we know... This can also still be green. So we can't even draw that. What am I missing? Well, that's not green. Some new color. But that new color could still come down here, so we cannot force it up. It can go at most there. So that's a new color again, and that new color now has to pick one of these 2 up, but it doesn't... It's not forced to do anything, really. Except not pick this up, right? But this doesn't even have to be purple. It could be a 3rd color. That's fine. Well, we know this is not red, green, blue, or anything we've drawn so far, but again, this can go anywhere, so it's not really helpful to draw that in. Red. We can even draw this border for red. It just forces this, which is fine. And if we draw this, it forces this. And that doesn't even put any pressure on blue, because blue can still do that, or that. Maybe we will run out of colors. We've already drawn 2, 4, 6. So we can draw 4 more colors. Maybe that's the trick. Because we saw there are 40 tiles. Alright, let's try that trick. So teal can go at most of that far. So that's a new color. We knew this is a new color. That's already 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. We can draw at most 2 more colors. Orange can't reach this. Nobody can reach this. Now we can draw at most 1 more color, and we must draw 1 more color. Is there pressure anywhere or on a tile? Is it? No. Every tile can be reached by someone now, so... Well, this has to be yellow, though. We cannot make this some new color. Because no matter what, it would cut yellow off, so these are together. And the other way to see that from the start of the puzzle is that if we drew this, then this region would break. Okay. Yellow cannot pick both of those up. So either the 10th region does, or purple does, or teal. Neither green or red are forced to pick anything up in here. Like, of course I know one of them is, but I don't know which. And so I have to keep both of them with high reach. Because, like, let's say I knew green had to pick at least one of these up. Then I would know that then I can redraw all of these colors 1 range shorter, and that might force something. Can I do that with either red or green? Like, can I force red to pick something up in here? Well, let's see. If it doesn't pick anything up, yellow is that, green is that. Am I supposed to do bifurcation like that? I mean, I know that I could get some useful insights. I think I know I can get some useful insights by doing that bifurcation, but I don't want to do it. The bifurcation of what happens if red doesn't pick anything else, anything up inside, or green doesn't. And see what both of those yield. Those 2 paths. But is there some more obvious way to see that either red or green must pick something up inside? I mean, which one specifically? Because I know at least one of them has to. Hmm. There is some pressure here between red and blue. Like, obviously red cannot pick all of those up. Neither can blue. But they can divide them up between each other. Can we introduce a third color in here? Let's see, if it's introduced there, this happens and that seems fine. If it's introduced here, that's not fine. So we know this is red or blue. Here, couldn't go west. Can go east. Forcing red to pick all of those up. So we can so this is the only tile that's forced to be red or blue. But how does that help us? I'm not sure if... I'm not sure that it does. Wait, well, let's think though. If it's blue, then that's red. And if it's red, then that's blue. So we either have this or this occupied by red and blue. But that doesn't tell us anything about this style. Well, in this scenario, this tile cannot be a third color, because that third color would cut blue off. And in this scenario, it could be, because it is allowed to cut red off. So that's not it. Although that is getting close to forcing red to do something. Well, actually, let's explore that then, because maybe it's not possible. So if this is blue... Sorry, if this is red, I meant to say. If we want this to be a new color, then this happens. And does that force anything upon green? Not really. Yeah, I don't know. I just need a way for either green or red to have to pick something else up inside, and then I would force 10 different colors onto the board, and that would be helpful. How do I force red or green to pick stuff up inside? Alright. What if red doesn't pick something up inside? It can't pick up these three. It cannot do this. Have to do that. Also cannot do this. Because we'd need this tile. And these would be yellow, these would be green. This is not green or red, so this happens, this happens, this happens. Blue can't avoid that or that. I mean, I'm just gonna bifurcate the whole solution. And that's, like, I don't want to do that. Alright, what if green doesn't pick anything else up inside? It has to pick up one of these, but not both? If it picks this... No, that's not true. It could pick both. It just can't pick all three of these. It also can't... Oh, it can't pick these two. So it has to choose. If it chooses here, then it can't pick that. And then it's forced to be this. And if it chooses here, then it cannot pick that. So it has to be this. But that breaks. So it can't be that. It cannot choose that, so it must choose this. This is a different color than that. Oh, wait. This tile is now broken. But that's way too deep in the bifurcation. Like, fuck that. Oh, what am I not seeing, dude? Oh, we already knew these are together anyway. So... But it can't... Oh, wait, these two cannot be together. Because... Yeah, okay, wait. So that might be useful. We have to draw this. So yellow either has to get out like that or like that. This yellow, I mean. Let's color it orange, actually. It either gets out like this or like that. So this is always connected to that. And this is always connected to that. Because, you know, if we draw this, this has to get out. And if we don't draw that, then orange picks both of them up. So these three colors are actually two colors. And these are four different colors. So that's 6 out of 10. If purple is not orange, it cannot pick this up. So this would have to be a new color. Wait, that's interesting. Maybe orange is forced to be purple? Because if it's not purple, purple has to be this. This has to happen, and this has to encroach on blue, but cannot be blue, and the puzzle breaks. Huh. How can we prove that without so much bifurcation? Right now, this much, what I've drawn in, didn't require much bifurcation, because, like, this we can see from the start of the puzzle, and we can very easily see that these two cannot be the same color. And so this is all forced easily. This was easily forced just because of this corner. And now, this clearly has to be a new color that we haven't drawn onto the board yet. Whether orange joins purple or not, either way, this is a new color, because it cannot join blue either, and clearly everything else is too far away. And so let's ask about this color, because, like, this color can go at most this deep into the blue-red territory, right? Which means it must pick one of these two tiles up. So it must pick one of those two up. I think I see something. I think it cannot... Yeah, I think the puzzle just breaks if this picks this up. The moment this picks this up, the puzzle breaks. Because look, if it picks it up, now what? Well, now it can't take both of those. So it must either do that or I don't know, this, because it cannot do that. It must pick one of these two up, but not both. So who can pick the other one up? I mean, I guess it could do this. Oh, I didn't think of this actually. Well, but that forces this, 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 this. Yeah, but that seems possible. We would have to bifurcate to disprove this. Ah. What about this? Has to be blue. I don't know. Ah, I thought I found something, but I didn't. Well, but we have drawn two. These are two colors up here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can only draw 3 more colors. Hold on. Because we know this is... we know this is different. Can't be red, green, teal, purple, emerald, or whatever that is. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 2 more colors are possible. And green can't be there, so that's 1. And this cannot reach here. And neither can that. Okay, we have 10 colors. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Alright, we have 10 colors. Let's get to work. So this can reach us most that far. So these are yellow, purple. These 3 tiles are yellow, purple. What does that tell us? Nothing, because they could all 3 belong to one of them. No, wait. Yellow is cut off here. Look, yellow must go up. Because yellow is not this color. Let me change that color to something I can pronounce. Dark green. Light green. Now light green is maybe similar to yellow. But anyway, apologies for anyone who has difficulty with discerning various different colors. So this has to go there, for if it doesn't, the puzzle breaks. So it goes there. It cannot pick both of these up, but the only other color that has access to one of them is this. So this gets in. And now yellow has to go this way. Purple now has to go at least this far. And in fact, yeah, in fact, purple cannot even pick that up at this point. So this has to happen. This happens, this happens, this happens. This happens, and we cannot draw a new color, so it can only join this. And this now has to go there, because if it doesn't, it breaks. So it goes there. And now this can only belong to that. This can't pick that up, so it must be here. This is forced. This can't be green, so it's red. That can't be red, so it's yellow. And green picks up the rest. Wow! That's a really nice puzzle. I really struggled to see how I can draw 10 colors. At some point I did recognize that that's probably the trick, but I thought it had to involve this area with the red, yellow, and green, but it in fact had to involve this corner as well, and how that interacts with this corner. Very, very nice puzzle. I wonder though if I missed some other ideas, because why is it difficulty 4? It feels like the depth of idea that needed is higher than difficulty 4, unless I missed some other logic that makes it easier. Very nice puzzle though. Non-boxy precision 4 rows window. Okay. This needs a square. And that's all we know. This needs a square, and it can't be these two. So this is the only other square within range 4. So these are the same color. They could go through here, here, or here, though. This square cannot see this circle, so it has to go to that circle through this specific path. This now can only see this circle, so it does. This now can only see this square, so it does. This can only see that square, so it does. This can only see that circle, and therefore this... Well, this also could only see that circle, and they still need the square, so it's this square. Dead-end expansion. This can only see that circle. So this can only see that circle, so this happens, they can't pick that up. Dead-end expansion can't be that circle. This can only see that circle, this can only see that circle, and so they must pick up the corner. They cannot pick this up, and we're done. Nice. I don't know why these puzzles are in a row over here, by the way. The first two were related to each other, but this third one isn't. I don't think. Is it something to do with their shapes? They forced Tetris shape, but I mean it's precision, so of course it's Tetris. Oh, they're all Tetris. Okay, because precision 4. They're all precision 4, that's how they're related. Non-boxy precision 4 rows windows. This must visit this because of precision 4, and it cannot visit both of those. So this cannot belong to that because it would cut that off. And now even if it picks that up, it must still go that way. This now can only belong to that, and it still needs to go there. And now it can't grab those because of boxy, non-boxy, so it's here. This happens. This has to at least go that way because of precision 4. This can only belong there. It's done. Done. Then this can only see that, so it does. This can only see that, so it does. This can only see that. No, not true, but this now can't pick those up. So it can't isolate the tile, so it must do so. This can only see this, so it does. And now this cannot join either of those, so it must be here. This now must be here. This now must be here, and we're done. Non-boxy precision 4 palisade. Alright. This is completed, and so is that. This must be drawn. These have to do that. Oh, I'm drawing in red. Oh yeah, and this can't join these because then it would break. So this happens. Oh, sorry, we're in precision 4. This is completed. I didn't need that logic there. We know this will be a T-shape. And it cannot pick this up. Dead end expansion. Oh, sorry, these two cannot be together because of precision 4. I started doing Palisade at the start and I forgot about precision 4, and that's a mistake. I need to read the rules before I do any notes. Because if had I realized precision 4, which by the way I should have anyway realized because I just made the comment that these are all precision 4, but anyway, then once I draw this I would realize they cannot be together because they would form a box. So this happens, which forces that, and it forces this as well, which forces that, which forces this. And here, this now is forced to do this, and this, and that, and this, and that. Dead end expansion. 3 tiles to be distributed between 2 regions, each of which can only pick up 2. This has to pick up exactly 2, this therefore must pick up exactly 1. This happens. Then we have to do... Oh, I understand. I understand. This will pick up... It cannot avoid picking up one of these two, and it must pick up... Must it pick up both? No, maybe not actually. Yeah, maybe not. Either way, this will be a new region, and this new region cannot pick both of these up, which means that it's at most size 2. It has to... Yeah, it has to reach this 4, because if it avoids picking this up, then it would have to be this, and that breaks this tile. So these have... It has to reach there, therefore it must grab the corner, and it cannot grab here. So we know this much. But this or this are still possible. Okay, I think I see something, but it feels a bit too... I don't know. What I see is that this is a problem, because it would cause this... Well, actually no, because it could do that, but what I was gonna say is that if it does this, then this breaks. Because it would have to... Oh no, it doesn't break. What am I saying? Never mind. This doesn't have to pick up all 4, it has to pick up 3. My bad. So this has to pick up 2 of its neighbors, which means it cannot go this far. Because then it couldn't pick up 2 of its neighbors, only 1. So whatever this is, can't take all of those, but it has to at least get out this far. And because it can't take those, it has to get out at least that far. And it can't go there. It can't go here. Because this would then have to be size 5 at least. And it can't go there because this tile would be broken. So it actually has to specifically be that. And now this must happen. And this must happen, which forces that. Interesting. And now this cannot be pink. So it must visit there, therefore here. But that causes the puzzle to break. Really? What? Is the puzzle already broken here? Oh my god, it is, dude. Get me out. What? Why? This takes 2, 1 remains, has to get out. Is this much correct? Okay, thank God. So this is clearly not blue. Can it be purple? I guess it can. Let's do this logic again. So this can't pick that up. This can't be these 4, so it has to go there at least. And it can't be purple. Can't go there. Can't cut that tile off, so it has to actually be this. This must happen. This must happen. This must happen. Alright, this can't pick both of those up. Which means it cannot pick this corner up, right? Because if this corner and this are the same, then obviously they have to have this, but now the puzzle breaks, so whatever that is different from this. And this thing has to at least get out this far. And it can't go up there. If it did this... Oh wait, yellow and blue can still be this. No, they can't. Blue is a T-shape, can't pick yellow up. So this can't go there, it would cut yellow off. So it has to go here. Now blue can't... Well, yellow has to go this way. So blue is now this, and we're done. Yeah, I don't know what I originally did wrong up there. I guess somehow I claimed that this corner couldn't be either of those or something. I don't know. My bad. Non-boxy precision 5. Precision 5, eh? No dead ends. How many regions? 85 divided by 5 is what? It's all 17, is it? Yeah, 17. Okay, 17 regions. Alright, we know this cannot go west at all. The moment it takes one step west, it's dead. We cannot draw this border, because if we do, it dies. So it turns out this doesn't require counting in the opening, at least. Which is too bad, because I like the counting. This is a new color that can only seek its salvation south, and it can go south no further. This has to happen. This cannot seek salvation east, so it seeks it west. And now it can only go this far, so this seeks salvation east. This seeks salvation west, because it does not find it east. Okay. This seeks salvation east. Oh, also this only belongs to that, so this happens. So this happens. This is a new color. Must grow. So this happens. This happens, and we're done. Yeah, that was like way easier than some of the stuff down here. Well, maybe I just got lucky by seeing the break faster. So what are we at? +3. Okay, there's probably no more hidden puzzles then, I guess. Let's take a look around. Oh, maybe there's something hidden inside the manor in a creative way. Like some open... Oh, look at this. Why isn't there something down there? Surely that's a good place to hide something. Well, I don't know. So, anything else? That's boxy. Well, let's go do the boss then. Non-boxy area number Gemini Delta. Oh, okay, but... Ugh, Gemini, why? Dude, this game is gonna give me some deep... What's the word I'm looking for? If ever I get into astrology, let me tell you, I'll have some... What's the word I'm looking for? When you, like, have a dislike against something without proper reason. Prejudice? Yeah, if ever I get into astrology, let me tell you, I'll have some prejudice against any Geminis. Anyway. Wait, Gemini is an astrology, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Along with stuff like Taurus and Leo and Pisces, Libra, Virgo. Gemini is one of those, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway, so non-boxy area number Gemini Delta. Well, this 6 has to see that 6, right? Yeah. And so they cannot isolate any squares in this area, so they have to pick this up because they would isolate that otherwise. But that is, I think, all we know. No, there's more we know. They cannot pick all of these up. They have to get out. Right. And we also know now that they need exactly 2 more squares, 2 more tiles, and there is some limit on what those 2 tiles can be, because they cannot... If they are any of these 3 tiles, then this has to be one of them, I believe. Oh, wait. Yeah, actually. If it's any of these 3 tiles, it's exactly these 2, because this breaks the puzzle, and this breaks the puzzle. So it's either this or this. No other options. And this is a new color, by the way. So that has to get out, at least here. Actually, it has to get out further. And this now happens. So the 4 has to get out at least this far. And the 4 has to pick up one of these 2, so it cannot pick up or sorry, it cannot pick up these two obviously anyway because of the non-boxy. So either this and this, or this and this. In both cases, these tiles are together. But could it also be this? Maybe. Oh wait, the 3 must be like that. So this happens, and this, and this. That. What about this? Oh, we can draw that border or that border. Ah, wait, this? Oh, this is not a 6, never mind. Ah, but it must seek salvation, and it could seek it with the 5. Or it could pick all of these up. Or like this, at least. So the 5 doesn't necessarily have to go west. Oh, look at this, by the way. This must join that. Because if it doesn't, it would cut it off. So they must join. And they cannot isolate this tile. So they must pick it up. They cannot exist through these 3 tiles, so they must get out. Now they need one more tile, which cannot be this. And so now that tile must seek salvation north, and therefore is forced to be this. This now has to be that. This must expand. This could be part of the 4 like this. And if it is not part of the 4, it's that. That doesn't force... Well, it does mean these tiles are always together. Because if we draw this... No, that's still possible. Never mind. Or sorry, is it these tiles that must be together? No. No, we don't know anything there. Where do we go next? This maybe? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all seem possible. This can't be there, but it could be here, 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 here. Oh, sorry, this 5? Well, it is under pressure, but like, not really. Like, it can still do a lot of things. Like, you know, there's still options. You can also go in. So it's not that 5. These 4s are not together. But that doesn't seem very helpful. Maybe the 5 can't see the Gemini for some reason. But why? So if it does see the Gemini, it would have to pick this up. And it would have to pick this up. So then if that's not part of the 2x2, well, that's not part of a 2x2. That isn't. So this would have to be part of the 2x2. So it would have to either be this or that. Ah. But at the same time, this happens. And this cannot, because the Gemini would break. So this would happen, and that breaks the puzzle. But dude, that's bifurcation, isn't it? I don't know, man. I can prove the 5 can't go there, but like, I have to bifurcate so deep to prove it. Do I use that as logic and move on? Like, what would that even yield if this is a different color? I mean, it would force the 5 to go at least this far. And it would force the yellow to have to get out. It would force a lot. And it would force this as well. Yeah, it's very impactful if I use that logic. But is that really the way forward? Like, how bifurcate? Let me just think about this. How badly is it bifurcating? Because, like, if this is part of the 5, it immediately forces... Obviously, it can't isolate that, and obviously, it can't isolate these. You know, it has to pick this tile up. And then, clearly, this would immediately happen, because this must seek salvation. And it can't go there, because this shape breaks the Gemini. So this is all forced with very minimal look ahead. And this. And now this clearly can't be that, because this would have to be the dead end. And the dead end borders a part of the 2x2, which cannot exist, so... Yeah. I'm gonna use that as logic. So... The 5 can't pick yellow up. Can't pick the Gemini up. So now 5 is at most size 3, 4, 5. And yellow must seek salvation in this direction. So this is forced to be the 5. Yellow can't pick this up because of the border. Okay. Then... I don't think this can be yellow. Can it? Well, this would have to get out. Yeah, I don't know. That's bifurcation. I'm not gonna do that. I mean, I can intuitively see that it can't be, but like, to prove it, I would have to do some deep contradiction, and I don't like that. What about this delta? Feels like this delta is here to tell you that this is not possible, or something like that. But we'll see. That's just a guess. So, can we draw this? Then we couldn't do this, because this can't do that. So it'd have to be that, which forces this. And by the way, this exists. Did I delete it, maybe? So that's what happens if I draw that. If I don't draw that... I don't know, like we can even get out. Yeah, I don't know. A lot still seems possible here. What if we draw this? Because this would need to either seek salvation with yellow or go north and then west, because it can't cut this off. That's kind of interesting. Maybe it is tough to draw this border, but again, it's like bifurcation to prove that. I don't want to bifurcate. What about this border? Because if we draw that, well, but yeah, because then we can't go here. We'd have to go this far, which would force this whole thing. You know, that border is pretty powerful. It would even force this. And then we cannot draw this border anymore because this would have to grow to be way too large. So it would force this. And then... well, we could just do this or something. Yeah, I don't know, like whatever. It's possible, who cares? Doesn't force anything. I am stuck. Maybe this is not possible. Or let's see, if this happens, then this has to happen, which would force that. Because, you know, if these are together, then through the Gemini, the delta sees this, so the other size can't see this. 3. The 5 would need to at least go that far. But it's not forced to go there. This couldn't go there. Yeah, but like, who cares? Again, I'm just bifurcating so deep. I don't know. But there is definitely tension between these two. Like, if this goes there, this border exists. If this goes there, this border exists. But they could also both be borders. I don't know. I feel like I am supposed to use the bifurcation that this cannot go this far. If it goes that far, then we already see that this dead end cannot correspond to that. Because if it did, it would have to draw this. But it can't finish the shape. So it would have to be whatever dead end this ends up being, but this can't end up being a dead end here. So this would have to expand. And it still can't be this dead end. Because right now it would force 1 by 3, 1 by 3, this, and that's not good. So it still has to grow. And now it still can't be that because, well, the thing is that this can't join the 5 or here, but this is also not possible. this can't be that dead end or that dead end, so it can't be anything. So that is my proof by fucking contradiction that this inner piece can't go all the way out. So it's either the size 3 or the size 4. And therefore, this is a size 3 or size 4. Size 3 can be that, that's fine. This is not fine, because this tile has to belong to one of them. Because if this tile, if this blue doesn't belong to red or yellow, then red has to be size 4 and yellow cannot be. So this is red or yellow. Either it's red like this and we're done, or if it's yellow, then we know yellow cannot grow further. Then red has to pick this up, because if it doesn't, or no, maybe it doesn't have to pick it up. And if it does pick it up, then it can also do that. So we're saying either this happens, or this. This. Not that. So always that. Yeah, but like, who cares now? Like, there's no overlap between the two options. We know it's not that. It's either this or this. Oh, so it's always that, right? This or this. If it's this, then that. And if it is this. I don't know. Seems like whatever is possible. Or did this break things up here? Not really. Like, we don't even need to see the delta. Oh, wow. I've never been this stumped, I feel like. I don't think there's anything forced up here, is there? Like, this can happen. Oh. Oh, sorry. No. This cannot happen. Why did I say earlier it can happen? I didn't look at the corner. Oh, come on. Really? I'm sitting down here trying to force something? Okay, well then I'm gonna delete all of this. We're not gonna do any of that yet. We're gonna instead do the obvious move, which is this is not possible because there are 4 tiles here that cannot be together, but only but they can't not be together either. Okay, so this happens. This seeks salvation in this direction, and now even if the 5 can't even pick all of them up, so it has to expand at least twice, because it cannot do that. It must do at least this, and now it can't do that. So now this can't be one new region, so it's all part of this. The 5 now cannot avoid this, because it would have to cut it off. So it must pick it up, and now it picks either this or this up. But it's not that, because that breaks the 4. So it's this and this. This 5 now, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 is 1, 2, 3. And this 5 is 1, 2. If the 4 goes here, it has to be a T or an SJ, so it couldn't go there. And if it doesn't go there, then it must do this or this. Oh, sorry, this is a 3. So the 5 cannot pick it up. So now the 5 has to go at least this far, and this now... let's see. Can it see the delta? No. It can't be this, sorry. Because this tile has to go here and there. So it's not that. So it's either this or this. In this case, this happens. And that happens. And in this case, we know it's not that, sorry. Wait, so do we know it's not this, therefore? Yeah, we do, don't we? Because this couldn't happen, and this couldn't happen. Because this forces that. Okay, so this happens. And now this has to pick that up, because if it doesn't... Or wait, sorry, if it does this... Wait, no, hold on. So this can't isolate that tile. It has to pick that tile up. Right? Yeah. So these are the same. And these are the same. They could both avoid the delta, I think. This happens. So this 5 now is kind of under pressure, but not really. This 4... Oh, this 4 cannot pick this up, because then it can't be that or that. So it has to be the 5, so now this has to be purple. And now this can't be teal. Now this 5 is under pressure, it must always pick that up. But it could avoid picking these, we don't know yet. This though has to get out and not be a 3, could be a 4 or a 5. We don't know which. Though we do know that even if it's the 5 still needs at least 2 more tiles. So we know this. And now we know the 4 needs to get out. And this is a dead end that has to get out. Looks like we will actually have to use the bifurcation logic here. Not the second one, the first one that forced this. We'll see. This cannot... we cannot draw this border because this is no good and that's no good. So we must draw this, and now we can't draw that. Or no, we can, because now the delta doesn't see it. Aha. So we could draw either of these. Oh, what am I doing? We cannot draw this border. The 5 would have no space. That forces this. Okay. These are not all... If these are all the same, they're with the 5. And if they're not all the same, then the 5 can only pick one of them up. Or sorry, the 5 will have to pick one of them up. So it's either this or is this. No other options, I believe. So it's always this and this. Like, just to demonstrate, if we drew this, obviously the puzzle's broken. This puzzle is broken. So we can't draw either of those, we must do this. And now if this, then that. And if not this, then still that. So always that. Pretty tough puzzle. Where to continue? Something down here. Also, this might... Like... This is now pretty detached. Yeah, it's completely detached from the rest of the board. So this has its own logic and this has its own logic. So let's just wrap this up. So... If this joined that... Then I would have to pick this up. And that. And... Ah! This is how they wanted you to use the Geminis and the Deltas. Maybe, I don't know. Because now what we're seeing is that now this cannot be the dead end. Because it couldn't move a step and see a 2x2. So it's the 2x2. If it's this 2x2, then the puzzle breaks down here. And if it's this 2x2, then the delta breaks it. But it's not just the delta that breaks it, it's also just this area here. So like the delta was not needed there. So if that's why they added the delta, then the delta is not needed, but the delta might still do other work in a moment. So anyway, purple can't... 5 can't pick that up. So that's some other color. So now the 5 has to get out here. This must seek salvation in that direction. Because it couldn't cut 5 off. Now 5 is forced like this. This happens. And now... this is actually always steel, because we cannot draw this. So this happens. Now, if this red is size 4, then this has to join not the 5, because the red couldn't be 5. It would have to join this orange. Let's make it yellow. So let's do it like this, maybe. So if red right now is forced to be this, if red grows to be 4, size 4, then the other side must connect to yellow, because it couldn't connect to the 5, because red couldn't grow further. So it would have to connect to this, and then it would have to be exactly this shape. But this actually breaks the puzzle, because now 5 would have to be green, and nobody can pick this tile up. So this can't grow to be 4, although I'm not sure. Is there cleaner logic that proves that? Well, simply if it's 3, then this, 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 which works, but that doesn't prove uniqueness. I don't want to do that bifurcation. Okay, let's do another thing. Let's say the 5 doesn't connect to green. Then either it couldn't connect to yellow, because this would break with the delta. So it would have to not connect to yellow, but then yellow cannot find salvation. But that's also a bifurcation. So I need to do a bifurcation either from this or from this to find the solution. Really? Yeah. I'm not sure I see another option. What about... So if yellow is there, then this shape needs a 1x3 inside of it. It must grow. This now must grow. Either completing it or not, but if not, it breaks. So it completes it, but now nobody can pick this tile up. This 5 has to expand here. Wait. I think I see another thing. Yes. Here's something that maybe doesn't need bifurcation. This is a new color. Maybe yellow, maybe not. At least size 3. And... like, basically, can I force the 5 to pick the green up due to limited tiles here is what I'm trying to say. So to force the 5 to pick the green up, I would need to take up out of these 6 tiles, I would need to pick up 5. Anything less, if I only pick up 3, then the 5 could still complete, because the 5 needs 3. Sorry, if I pick up 4 out of these 6, then the 5 cannot complete. Can I pick up 4? I know this picks up 3. Nah, there's no way to prove that the 5 must pick up the green without using the delta through bifurcation. So are you really just supposed to use the delta through bifurcation to finish? I mean, surely that is the case, because otherwise this puzzle is solvable without the delta. But then again, we've seen many instances before where the puzzle was solvable without delta, so I don't know. Whatever, I'm just gonna use the delta. So the way we use the delta is that we can't draw this border because then this or no, sorry, this is possible. What am I saying? So wait, how do we use the delta? We use the delta by saying that if 5 doesn't pick up green, then it goes there, this goes here, and the puzzle... Wait. Oh, so if 5 doesn't pick up green, just because it goes there, yellow expanding breaks 5. Okay, so then if 5 doesn't pick up green, it is part of yellow. And then this has to happen, and that breaks the delta. Is that how we use the delta? I'm just gonna say yes. And say that therefore 5 picks up green. And now, let's go back here. Now, the other side of the Gemini has to pick up 3 out of 6 tiles. and it shares the region with its sibling. So if this side picks up more than 3, so does that. So could they evenly divide this region? Right now it's both of them are trying to pick up 3, which gives us 3 more tiles. That is possible. If they both grow to size 4, then out of the 9 tiles, so okay, look, let's do this. There are 9 tiles here. There are at least 2 different regions because of the Gemini, and they have to be the same size. But that means that together, the sum of their area is an even number. It's a multiple of 2. And 9 is not. So we need at least a third area, a third region here. But the minimum region size is 3, so therefore all of them are size 3, and therefore this has to be locked in as size 3. This now can't go there, because for area size 3, there's only one possible shape. So we get here, but like it feels weird. I don't know if I properly solved it or if I cheated with bifurcation, but whatever, let's just move on. I don't like Geminis. Let's just move on. So what's going on up here? We have... How much area do we have up here? 36. Can they all be distinct? 10, 20, 28. Yeah, they can. Okay. This 4 is kind of cornered, so... It's a Tetris shape. It's not a 1x4 or a 2x2. It's also not an SJ or a T, because, like, that's no good. That's no good. So it's specifically an LJ. And the 1x3 is either there or there. So... how does that help us? I mean, if it's there, then it cannot be this. And similarly, if it's here, it's here. So this, or this, or this. Oh, there is something interesting. If we draw this border in, then we obviously force this, and then we force this, and then this can't stay as size 3 because it kills the 4, but it also can't be the 4 because it kills this tile. So we must draw this, I believe. Is there another way to prove that, though? Because that's, again, bifurcation. You know what? I'm done. From now on, if the puzzle has Gemini or Delta, I'm just gonna bifurcate and call it a day, because I'm fed up with these rules. Like, they plop Geminis and Deltas into the puzzle, and then it's not clear whether they expect you to use contradiction proofs or not. Like, I don't like that. Like, I can just sit here searching for logic for hours, and then who knows? Maybe it's not even there. Maybe you're literally just supposed to brute force the combinations and make a conclusion by contradiction. I don't know. And it's frustrating when you sit there looking for logic and it's just not there. Of course, it could be just a skill issue. Maybe I'm just missing it, but at this stage, I don't know, like, I'm just giving up. So I'm saying that this border is not possible because it forces this, this, and then we can't lock the 3 in because the 4 dies. So, but if we don't lock the 3 in, we have to grow to at least size 4. The only way this tile grows to size 4 is by seeing this, but then this tile cannot be picked up. And if someone picks it up, not enough space. And if this doesn't pick it up, then that's not good either. So that's my proof by contradiction that I can't draw this border. So I have to do this. And once we do that, we know this is an LJ. It can be that, it cannot be this. We know it's 1/3 has to be in this column, because we cannot do this. It breaks. So we must draw this. Cannot draw that. Could draw this. No, cannot draw this. So it's either that or that. It sees this Gemini. If we draw this, the Gemini breaks. So it has to be with this 4. Now this has to get out. And it cannot make an LJ. So either this, or if this happens, then it can be part of the 5 or here, so I can prove that we cannot draw this border. If I draw this border, we move up, we're forced not to go there. We have to keep searching for salvation. And we cannot join the 5. We find our salvation and doom the 5. So we cannot draw this border. We must draw this, which forces that. This has to get out. And now, let me just delete these for a sec. If we draw that border, we have 20. No, I don't like that. Too many ifs. This 5 cannot connect to that. They're too far apart. So it needs 3 out of these 5 tiles, because it also can't connect to this. It needs 3 out of these 5. So there will be 2 tiles left. But it's not necessarily this 5 who has to pick those 2 tiles up, because it could be this. Or it could be a combination of both. I also don't know how this delta will be useful. Did I use it at all? I don't think I used this delta, right? Like, I don't think it was relevant for this 4 or for this 5. And it's not going to be relevant now, because there's no way I'm fitting this shape in here. Because this one can't do that shape. It would isolate a tile, and this one can't. It would isolate that, so I don't know what purpose this delta serves. But whatever. So this needs to pick up 3 tiles. Can it isolate this? No. It must pick that up, right? Because if it doesn't, then the puzzle breaks. So it does pick that up. And now it needs 2 more. It could avoid picking the Gemini up. It can pick up any 2 of these 4 except for these 2. So it could be these 2. Well, of course, also not diagonally. So it could be these 2, these 2, these 2. So maybe it cannot pick the Gemini up. If it picks the Gemini up like this. Hang on, let's look at this. If we draw this border. Hold on. I think the Gemini always has to be different than this, because if they are the same, in both cases, there's not enough room on the other side. That's fairly obvious. But is that logic I want to use? It's pattern recognition logic, which means it's brute force logic, so no, I don't want to use that. Because, like, you know, if I use that, I would see that red either picks this up or this. Can't pick that up, or it goes here. And that would force this to be blue. Here this is... Yeah, like, basically we're forcing blue to be one of the 5s. Maybe we already... Like, if this Gemini doesn't want to be part of the 5s, then... Ah, maybe this 5 is forced to... Oh, looks like I have to bifurcate again, man. Why? What's fun about these puzzles where you just have to guess? And then guess and guess and then say, oh, this can't work. Therefore, it's not this. No, those are not fun for me, like. Is it fun for anyone? Is there someone who enjoys proof by contradiction? Maybe. In which case, fine, I guess. Create puzzles for those people too, but I don't know. It would be nice if, like, there was a disclaimer. Hey, this puzzle requires brute force proof by contradiction, so you're allowed to use it without feeling bad. You're not gonna miss any logic. That's, like, I don't know. The reason I don't like it is because I want to find, like, if the designer created a nice logical idea, I don't want to miss it. And it is possible to miss it if you do proof by contradiction. Then you might circumvent some logic and miss the beauty of it. That's why I don't like to use it. So, like, if there was a disclaimer at the start of each puzzle that, hey, there is a logical idea here that you might miss if you use proof by contradiction, then I know not to use it. But, like, in these puzzles, especially these Gemini puzzles, Delta puzzles, it feels like half the time I'm not sure. Like, should I brute force the possible shapes until I and contradict a bunch of paths and just, you know, it's a bit frustrating. Anyway, where were we? we were... And by the way, just to make it clear as well, I obviously can also just be missing the logic. So that's entirely possible. And because of that, I should take it easy and not get frustrated, because it could just be my fault. And these types of puzzles exist anyway, so like it is possible to design these types of puzzles, and I believe, I'm fairly certain that we have encountered somewhere clearly you have to use brute force, proof by contradiction, again, unless I'm missing some logic. So it is clear that they have designed at least some of them. So I guess the only thing that I find frustrating is this uncertainty of like having to question of like, is this gonna be another one of those puzzles where I should give up trying to find some clean logic and I have to accept that I will have to go down the brute force proof by contradiction route? Like, that doubt is what frustrates me. Am I gonna miss some logic if I do it? Am I forced to do it? Because there is no such logic? I don't know. So I guess what I should just do is look for the logic a bit, and if I get stuck, then just resign myself to either not finding the logic and missing it and circumventing it with brute force, or maybe the logic is not there and I do just have to brute force. I guess I just have to accept that and move on, because there's no point in getting frustrated about it. So let's do that. At this point, I don't think I see logic, so let's brute force, especially when there's Geminis and Deltas involved. So, I don't think this Delta will help us. So let's look at this Gemini. What does this Gemini tell us? Well, it tells us that if this 5 visits, then if this 5 visits, if this 5 picks this Gemini up like this, then the other side would only be able to this would have to be part of a 3x3. It will only be able to be a part of this 3x3, and there needs to be an orthogonal 3x3, which can only be that which breaks this. So this is not possible. What about this? Then this is either part of a 2x2 or the dead end. It can't be the dead end, because this can be a 2x2, that can be a 2x2, and this can't be a 2x2. So it is the 2x2. It couldn't be this. So it would have to be that, and then either finish like this or like this. It cannot finish like this because of this region, so it would have to finish like this, which would force this and that. So that seems possible. So right now that is one candidate path down the brute force logic. The other is that we don't pick that up, and then we have to do this. And that doesn't work. So we must pick it up. We can't pick it up like this. We must pick it up like this. The other thing we can see here is that these have to always connect, because if they don't, this breaks. So we know this. This could still happen. And if it doesn't happen, this happens instead. This can't make that shape. So we actually cannot pick that up. So now this has to go there because it doesn't have enough tiles here. And then it's complete. So this goes there. This has to be part of the 2x2. It has to be this. And we're done. This expands. And now if blue wanted to join red, it could only pick up one of these two tiles, and the other would be isolated. So blue and red are distinct. So blue, even if it picks these both up, it must still expand into yellow, but once it expands into yellow, it's complete, and then this dead end expands, this dead end expands, and we're done. So yeah, that is the puzzle. Pretty difficult, but I don't know how much of that difficulty was because of me trying really hard to find logic where maybe you were supposed to just brute force the possible shapes around the Geminis and the Deltas. I don't know. But knowing that sometimes they rated Gemini Delta puzzles with potential brute force much lower difficulty, maybe that's not why it has a difficulty rating of 7. I have no idea. But I will just accept that and move on. I will also accept the fact that I could just be missing the logic. Alrighty. So that is non-boxy. And we have now this area belonging to this window that we will complete next time. And there are some interesting, exciting things coming up. Another region boss, just like this one. Excited to jump into that. I suppose we will do that next time, won't we? Because next time we'll finish this window and this. Or will we start... Or will we end here? We'll see next video whether we end here or here. I kind of want to end here, to be honest, next time. So we'll do that. Like, as in, I want to complete this next time. Alrighty. We are at 602. That is all for now. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.